All right, here we are. All right, let me just. How's it going, everybody? I figured today's episode we would talk about something that has been in the news quite a bit as of late, and that is the issue of vaccine hesitancy, the continued denial of COVID 19 being a dangerous and deadly disease, and the growing number of people who say they won't be getting the COVID 19 vaccine. According to an NPR and Marist poll conducted recently, 1 in 4 Americans will not be receiving the COVID 19 vaccine or will be, wanting to get the COVID 19 vaccine. And when you consider that at the time of this broadcast, 577,000 people in the United States have died from COVID 19, it is kind of a mystery. I mean, I understand you have assholes out there like Tucker Carlson who would lead people to believe that this hysteria is all theatrics. It's all a part of a scheme to, do something to the American people. It's never been fully made clear what this whole pandemic or whatever these people are talking about is. And I'm just at this point like perplexed. I want to know, why is it that people they don't want to get the vaccine? Why don't they want to do something active to be able to end this horrible like situation we've been in for the last year? I mean, I for one can't wait to get out and start living my life the way I used to. Even now when we're at 50% of the adults in the United States have been vaccinated, we're still looking at some very dangerous and very frightening realities. I mean, you look at India, where they have broken the world record in the number of new positive COVID-19 diagnoses at 400,000. You know, creating this whole issue where we have mutations of the disease. We have a situation where the vaccines we've already developed could be rendered useless by the simple fact that we haven't been able to act fast enough in getting people vaccinated from the variants that has been causing all these issues. So, anyone who would like to call in, I would love to hear why I am wrong about anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers, and why they are not idiots. Perhaps there's something I'm missing. Although, as it stands right now, I definitely believe that they might be idiots. Dangerous idiots, in fact. Uh, but, that's what the main topic of tonight's show is to discuss COVID-19 denial, why people do it, and why they won't get the vaccination. So, the call lines are open. Please reach out or let me know in the comments or tweet at me at Salacious Studio why you won't be getting the vaccine or how vaccine hesitancy and COVID denial has directly impacted your life. I know that there's been a lot of press about this as of late, and it's very fresh on people's minds. In fact, I was a little bit worried at first to even do this stream because I know that on social media there are a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a lot of hesitancy about really discussing this or having dialogues about it because of their commitments to halt the spread of misinformation. And I mean, there has there has been a great deal of misinformation on the topic. We have people. Yeah, is it normal to be fearful of the vaccine? Says small town alien. I don't know. Some people say it is. I mean, you have people out there that have issues with, just the polio vaccine, like the regular MMR vaccine that most people get when they're children. They believe fictitious and bogus studies about how vaccines cause autism. They believe it's a part of some sort of plot. If they're truly wrong about COVID, they'll find out. I suppose that is true, Dark Prospects. But I don't think that's really the best course of action to go. It would be good to be able to educate these people and try to deprogram them from whatever, crazy trip they're on right now. Because even if they are, since they are wrong, like even if like they don't get that, it's still going to cause problems for us down the line. As the COVID virus mutates, it will find ways to get around our current vaccines, and it will lead to us, unfortunately paying the price for that issue. And that is not really something that I think any of us want to do. We don't want to go back to, how things were at the beginning, because a brand new variant of the disease has come out. I mean, yeah, no, you could say Darwinism at the finest, but at the main issue at that being, we're going to pay the price as well. It's not going to just be idiots who don't get vaccinated or get vaccinated. As the disease is able to jump for more people, it will be able to essentially mutate more. And as I'm saying, the main worry is that we will get a mutation of the COVID virus that will basically mean we'll have to go back into lockdown. We'll be back to square one. And I don't think that's anything anyone really wants to deal with. Apprehensive Fly 11. Hi, I'm waiting for my Lord and Savior Donald J. Trump to come and save us all, so I can't take the vaccine since he'll save me. I'm sure there's many who believe that, Apprehensive Fly. I'm sure that is true. And if you do believe that, I want you to know that I sincerely think you are a moron. Like, it astounds me if you believe that you are even able to, breathe automatically, I guess, to not drown in the shower. I mean, these are things that surprise me about people who believe that. I assumed you were saying that you were that jokingly, but I know there's plenty of people out there who certainly don't believe that jokingly. There's a lot of people out there in this country who believe that with all seriousness. And yes, small town alien, I am a savage. And, unless someone can convince me otherwise, I'm going to be a giant prick to most anti-vaxxers or COVID deniers. I came here tonight for a fight. And that's pretty much the long and short of it. So so much, describe the mechanisms of protein synthesis by the mRNA vaccine. So how about you do that? Like, I know that there has been a lot of ridiculous conspiracies that the mRNA vaccines will literally change your your DNA, and other ridiculous thoughts. That is not even the remotest possibility. But if you have some sort of evidence to the contrary, what the CDC and other leading medical experts have to say on the matter, I would love to hear it. And I invite you to join the chat. So yeah, like I said, the call numbers there. The call lines are open for anyone who would like to join this discussion. And if you are against what I'm saying, then you are more than welcome to call in and convince you why. Let's see. So Dark Prophet here. But I've heard this argument, and it has some merit. COVID is a coronavirus, which is a common cold. I mean, I don't know. SARS was a COVID virus, and that wasn't necessarily a common cold. It was a very deadly disease. Mr. Silverpoop, I honestly would not be able to describe it. I mean, I don't know, can you describe it? You're just saying, "Oh, I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions." Just like a classic Tucker Carlson move. It's like, I'm going to ask these questions, these deep and complex questions that require deep and complex answers that will take a long time. Not really the purpose of this as like some sort of proof. But you do you. You do you. So Trollic, so just throwing my new piece. Wonder if anyone has said that yet. All right. What is the 5-year outlook for COVID-19 in your opinion? Well, I'm hoping that we will be able to get ahead of the issue or the issues that we have been facing with COVID-19. We'll be able to return to some normalcy. I would assume, like, based on what I've read, that we'll probably end up having to have like yearly boosters, like a flu shot for the COVID-19 virus, because unfortunately, with the number of mutations and variants that are out there, and just like, the large portion of the country that won't, actually do the responsible thing, I have a feeling that we'll just have to live with it, and we'll just have to figure out ways to deal with it. And the sensible ones among us will have to get a booster shot on our COVID-19 vaccine every year. When, if 1 in 4 Americans weren't so fucking stupid, we could have just like dealt with this now. So I would assume that like over the next few months, we're going to return to normalcy, but we're going to be dealing with this for, pretty much the rest of our lives. Let's see. But I've also heard the CDC numbers are flawed and many misclassified deaths. Oh, man. Dark Prospects, why don't you call in? Why don't you stop being a little bitch and call in? And, like, we can have this discussion instead of you fucking, like, coming in here and hitting me with all of the anti-vax talking points. And then I would say that would be some study. Well, tell me what the studies are, Link them in the RPAN chat. Cite your fucking sources, bro. That's all I want to hear. Or call in and stop being a little bitch. I'm sure he is a conspiracy theorist. I'm inviting him to call in, but he's too much of a pussy. Like, the idea of his voice being out there just frightens him to his core. I mean, that's the problem. A lot of these internet conspiracy theorists, they're fucking cowards. They're pussies. They're willing to sit there and like spread their misinformation, but when we're actually gonna like face up to the actual discussion, put them on themselves on the line, they're never to be found. So Dark Prospects, I want you to know, I think you're a little bitch, and I think your parents, if there's a way I could go back in time and stop them from having sex, I would. It would be a genuine fucking benefit to the world. So I want you to know that's how I feel, Dark Prospects. Go to hell and have a bad life. Or call in and not be a pussy, and we can get this conversation really going. No, exactly. It's like I had an argument with a friend of mine the other day. They said they won't be getting vaccinated because they believe it will hurt their ability to reproduce. It'll hurt their fertility. When the only source that can be found is like a single blog post from something a very pseudoscience source, and that's really it. I'm not. You're not giving talking points, Dark Prospects. You're just parroting random nonsense that is circulated around Facebook. So that's pretty much where you're at with that. And like I said, I'm not going to be so mean to you if you call in. But until then, I'm going to keep calling you a little bitch and a liar and an idiot. 1 second. Just need a little refresher there. You see, this is how talking head news should be. It should be a dialogue between people, and the talking head should be able to say lots of mean things to the people talking at him. And that's where we're at. Yep, I see. Fit photographer. Communism is going to be great this time. How do we get onto the subject of communism? Fit photographer. Do you believe that COVID-19 or the whole pandemic is somehow related to communism? If so, please call in and let me know your reasoning. And that would be a good discussion. All right, let's see. Charlie Bucks, I think the lack of Americans who do international travel doesn't help. In the UK, where most holidays abroad will get the vax ASAP, even if they don't want, as it will be needed to travel. I would definitely agree. I think that I mean, and a lot of Americans have talked about their concerns about not being able to fly without the vaccine. There's been a lot of talk about like the uh, counterfeit vaccine card market. Although I would assume, I would hope that they would do this, that like, since when I had to go get my vaccine, I had to like enter a bunch of information and stuff and be a part of a database, uh, that, it will be beyond just like vaccine cards. Um, and, that should be definitely an issue. But a lot of Americans don't fly abroad or go abroad, so I guess they won't care. They just sit here and pass their germs to each other. I understand. Yeah, in the chat, we've definitely gotten some interesting stuff. We're talking about the doctrine of fascism and communism. I'm not really certain how this relates to COVID-19. I would definitely invite anyone who has some insights on that to call in. Because that's something it's not a correlation I get. I don't get the idea that somehow COVID-19 and public health are some sort of fascist or communist plot. I guess I just haven't heard the talking points. I haven't heard the justifications for why that is the truth. And I would like to hear that. If anyone would like to call in. Let's see. Okay, we need. Damn, we've gotten all like completely off the topic of COVID-19 in the chat, and we're talking about fascism and communism. Like, really, where is the connection? Where is the connection here? I thought we were having a frank discussion about public health, but that seems like it might not be the case. I mean, who knows? Like, Fit Photographer, Dark Prospects, do you believe that this is some sort of communist plot to take over America? Is that what you're saying? Or you say it's Fit Photographer, yeah, bringing this in. And then Strasser, yeah. Oh, it's all BS? Okay. Yeah, in a way, though, is the unvaxxed population even likely to be that much of a threat? Like I said, Charlie Box, the issue is not the fact that they're gonna get sick. I could give a shit if like they would all fucking die of a horrible disease. Then that's on them. It's the problem is they're creating a place for the COVID disease to essentially. Or the COVID-19 virus to essentially mutate and to make it so we will have to like constantly be getting booster shots on our vaccines. So, at the end of the day, I feel like while I wish it could just be their problem, it is unfortunately all of our problems. That's just the nature of epidemiology. That's just the nature of virology. And, I don't know. I don't know why people don't get it. Like, even if you're young and healthy, the COVID-19 vaccine, it's not about you. It's about protecting everybody else. It's about creating a general sense of public health. Yeah, I mean, it's a political issue because of the mask issue and COVID relief. Yeah, I suppose that's it. Like, man, that's like such a terrible thing. A bunch of people lose their jobs for the reasons out of their control. They should just be thrown out on the streets, I guess. That's what some people believe. And I mean, that's another thing I've definitely seen that I found very problematic. What? Oh my. I mean, Strasser 1997. If you lived in Canada, you would be getting $2,000 a month. But now this is America, where the only people who are eligible for handouts are the super rich. If you would like socialism, I suggest you become a corporation or a one percenter, where you will be able to take advantage of all of the corporate handouts our country does. But if you're broke, this is nothing but aggressive, unbridled individualism. But like I said, I don't think that is necessarily the topic we're talking about today, since we're talking about the anti-vaxxers and the COVID denier sentiment that is leading people to not get vaccinated. if anyone has anything to add, like why they won't be vaccinated or why they think people should be vaccinated, definitely please call in at the call-in line, and we will take your call. Let's see. Strasser, fuck Trump and Biden. I mean, I don't know. If you Strasser 1997, if you would like a president that everyone likes in this country, or that you like everything they do, that's just not going to happen. It's the unfortunate thing about democracy is you rarely get everything you want, but you might get some stuff you like. I don't know. I would not call myself a professor. I'm just some asshole who has a bunch of live streaming equipment, and I'm using you guys as just a sounding board so I can scream into the void. But that's just me. Small town alien, I'm just generally scared of the vaccine. You don't know why? Well, I mean, I don't know, like, why not? Why not? I got the like, a lot of the people I know got the vaccine. I got the vaccine. It wasn't a big deal. I mean, you know, I'm sure you were vaccinated by your parents when you were young. Think about this. Think about how, like, when was the last time any of you ever saw, like, a kid with chicken pox? You know, when was the last time you saw someone, you know, who had polio, who was in leg braces or in iron lung? Fucking never. You know why? Vaccines. You know, it's a proven and well-studied area in science and medicine. You know, like a lot of people will say that, oh, I don't trust the COVID-19 vaccine because it came out so quick. Well, here's like the real shit about that. One, we already were developing a COVID vaccine of sorts when SARS-CoV-1 came on the scene, you know, like a few years ago. But because the countries where SARS-CoV-1 it happened, they did a very good job of limiting the spread of the disease. The development wasn't really continued, but we had the base knowledge going into this pandemic of how to develop a vaccine against a COVID virus. And then, you know, when we actually were like in the midst of the pandemic developing it, the whole like research and testing timeline was condensed, and a lot more resources and people were able to take different stages of the research and testing and essentially do them at the same time. Because there was a huge impetus to get a handle on this thing. And, you know, that is really one of the main reasons I would say anyone who's like, oh, I don't trust the COVID-19 vaccine, it hasn't been tested well enough, that isn't true. Trust me, there was a great deal of money and a great deal of effort that was put into, you know, really like speeding up the timeline of rolling out this vaccine. Like most vaccines, you don't have to like be, you know, there isn't like a huge impetus to be rolling it out immediately. So you don't have to spend so much money. So you can kind of do it slowly in what, like, you know, whatever company that is making it believes is a cost-effective way. But in this particular case, governments all over the world and people all over the world were handing out huge quantities of money to get this shit done. Let's see. Oh my. Yeah, the whole conversation in the RPAN chat has devolved. Let's see. Oh man, apprehensive fly. You're a bitch. You're too much of a pussy to even call in. So who are you calling old and washed up? You know? Like, all you guys, you want to talk shit to me? Fucking call me. Talk shit to my face. But until then, you're a bunch of pathetic fucking virgins sitting in your house, like typing away. I mean, I'm sure, apprehensive fly, you probably weigh like fucking 300 pounds, never gotten laid. Same thing, fifth photographer, God, you are a fucking idiot. Like, you are one of the stupidest goddamn people I have seen in a while. I mean, really, play in traffic. You'll do the world a favor. Let's see. The entire world work together. We could do this. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, you know, we have like a good percentage of the population, lorazepam, that is just completely like without ethics or without intelligence. And here we are. Here we are in this particular position where we're probably going to all have to be getting like COVID-19 or COVID booster shots every year to deal with like the main issues still going on with this disease because people are so selfish and terrible. I mean, really, that is the thing I have learned from this whole thing is how absolutely stupid and trash people are. Um, Small town alien, I hate being me. I know, I like to be nice to people on Reddit, but man, we got some garbage up in the chat today. And like, really, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of dealing with these brain dead, knuckle dragging morons. Just, essentially making the world worse for everybody with the ignorant nonsense they believe. And I mean, that's pretty much that's where I'm at. I'm fed up. I'm angry. We could sit here and we could all like say, "Oh, it'll be okay." We should all come together. We should all find understanding. But how do you find understanding with people who don't give a shit about anybody else but them? They'd rather believe idiotic nonsense than to do like a single fucking thing to help their fellow man. And that's I mean, we should just lock up anti-vaxxing. I don't know if that's really the move. I feel like even when that's done with the best intentions, it never ends well. So I don't think I would really co-sign that one. Jermarxy. Yeah. I know. Well, yeah, of course, it has made a lot of people angry, lonely trolls. Thankfully, yeah, I've had someone to ride out the whole pandemic with, and I've had a job where I've been able to work from home, so it hasn't been so bad. But I could definitely see how it has caused a lot of people to go crazy. I mean, I personally seen it in just people I know on social media. And yes, long run Sunday. This is the end of my black box. You see, this is a better thing. You like have to like go be a talking head on like a local affiliate station or even a national channel. They won't let you drink on camera. I've worked for a local news station, and I definitely believe that the talking heads that worked there should have been able to drink on camera, would have made the shows a lot more interesting. But thankfully, the RPAN and my Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels, where I can be an obnoxious talking head and also drink at the same time. This is the future of news right here. Fifth photographer, I will be honest, like if I wasn't around anybody and I was outside, I wasn't wearing a mask. I mean, I was definitely all in favor of wearing masks around people, but I don't know, when the CDC said that, I was like, really? You weren't supposed to do that to begin with? I don't know. Such is life. I was just trying to keep all of my aerosol coming out of my mouth away from other people. I'd be looking forward to seeing when we can have different I've heard of different I can't remember which sports stadium it is. I think it was Dodgers Stadium or something. They have a special section where you can go and sit with people without a mask if you have your vaccine. That seems like a pretty good idea. And I'm hoping to see more of that. I'm going to be going to my first music festival after this whole debacle later this month on Memorial Day. And I'll be interested to see what the whole social distancing and mask protocol will be. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be wild. I'm a little apprehensive now that I've started learning about the different COVID variants that are coming out as the virus has started to mutate. So I'll probably keep my mask on when I'm around all those dirty looks. But we will see. Where's man, freaking Jim Remarksy is kind of taking this in a pretty Nazi direction. I have a feeling to prove his point. And Apprehensive Fly, the Bigfoot Electro Festival down in Tennessee, it's going to be good. I don't know, if you like, bass music, electronic music and stuff, it's a good time. I would highly recommend anyone who wants to go there. I know they're going to be doing sort of pod kind of stuff, but it's also going to be camping. I'm not entirely certain. A friend of mine from college is throwing in it, and he gave me some VIP tickets. So, I spent too much time stuck in my freaking house. So I'm just looking forward to getting out, and I feel good about getting out because I've been vaccinated. So I know when I'm going to be around people, I can at least keep them safe from the variants of COVID-19 that I am vaccinated against. So we will see. Yeah, that's Bigfoot Electro. Anyone who's looking for a fun music festival to go to, there will be COVID-19, prevention steps in place, but it will be a good time. After how definitely steer clear or something like that. I mean, I don't know. So, do I believe in Bigfoot? No, I don't believe in Bigfoot. We should all meet up in a small group in the mountains to discuss COVID. I don't know. That sounds pretty boring. I'm looking forward to a few days of not having to think about all this nonsense for a while. I mean, I guess I won't be able to do that because we have new variants of COVID coming out. We have people who don't believe in getting the vaccines and stuff. So I guess it'll always be here, an ever-present thing that will be causing me anxiety throughout my life. And such is life. Oh man, I see my score way down. I am clearly upsetting lots of people. Hey, if you got a problem with this conversation, fuck you. I don't know. I was going to say something, but yeah, just fuck you. This is a conversation we should all be having. We should all be trying to reach out to those people who over the last year have just devolved into madness. I mean, I'm not doing a good job of it right now because I'm calling them dangerous idiots and just generally being disrespectful as fuck. But I don't know. I just don't know how to reach you internet people. I do things that I think it's all positives like that. Nobody gives a shit. And, I just have to be provocative. I got to be aggressive to really bring people into the conversation. Someone said they were going to reach out to the Reddit CEO to complain. Oh, wasn't that what's her face Powell or something? I remember seeing a while back, everyone was like, fuck that lady. She's going to ruin Reddit. I don't know. Reddit has always been pretty weird. I mean, actually, today was my cake day. I don't know if it's still on there, but today marks 10 years of being on Reddit. And I would say it has always been kind of a cesspool, but it's not as obviously a cesspool as 4chan was. But, that's just the way it is. Things change. And like I said, the whole tone of my stream has been largely this way because aggressive, offensive, divisive content is what succeeds on the internet. And that's a big reason why I think a lot of these COVID-19, these anti-vax, and these other ridiculous conspiracy theories have come to pass is because of social media algorithms. We've kind of created a situation where the most divisive and ridiculous nonsense gets the most shares and the most views. And I would definitely say that a big reason why we are facing this issue is the internet has given stupid people the false belief that what they say matters. And it's allowed stupid people to congregate to share their stupid fucking ideas. When before, smart people and the people that controlled who could get up and say things and be in the public eye would just keep them down because they were just too fucking dumb to actually participate in the discussion. But now, because of social media, because of Reddit and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, we've given every single moron license to spout off their dumb bullshit. And while I believed, I'm a millennial, I was born in the early 90s. I definitely believed then that the internet was going to be this thing that would save the world and bring us all together, make us all more intelligent. And it's been kind of a messed up thing to see that is not the case. I have seen people get stupider. Although, who knows, maybe I was just less aware of how fucking stupid people were until recently. And I believe that Facebook and Reddit, I mean, Reddit less so. I think there's a lot of really smart, good content on Reddit. But Facebook and Twitter, especially, have just promoted the views and opinions of dumb, worthless people. And that's really, I guess, yeah. There's that documentary, The Social Dilemma, that kind of talks about it. If you're like an angry, horrible, stupid person, like the algorithms are designed to essentially benefit you. Yeah, and that's that's just the way it is. I mean, I don't think they should get rid of the regulations that make social media companies and tech giants and stuff like that like culpable for the language said on their platforms, because I feel like at the end of the day we just kind of lose a sense of free speech. And while I definitely think that free speech can be misused, I would rather people be able to speak freely. I mean, I will continue to say the people that use free speech incorrectly to promote things like COVID denial, anti-vaxxer shit, racism and hate speech are worthless, dumb pieces of shit, but that's my right. That is my right. Anger Apple Po. I am drinking some Black Box Malbec. It is a good vino for getting yourself heated to scream at idiots on the internet. And that's really why I got into streaming. I just have so much discontent and hate to just project at you the viewer. And this helps get the juices flowing. And right now, I'm just particularly pissed off at the people that are the COVID deniers and the anti-vaxxers. I know I haven't said this in a while. There is a call-in number. If you would like to call in and take a more engaged place in this conversation, it would be greatly appreciated. I initially designed this show. If you saw, I don't do like all of the graphics and stuff for the show on the RPAN stream, but those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch know the game. But yeah, I that's kind of what I designed the show to be about, is to be like a phone call with the internet, a phone call with random strangers. And talking to random strangers is one of my favorite things, and I would say the best thing about the internet, despite the fact that it's brought a lot of people who were random strangers together to just be idiots and to spread truly terrible and regressive thoughts. But sometimes you get some good people together, and you get some good ideas and some good conversations and stuff that enriches people. So it's one of those. The internet is definitely the biggest double-edged sword that is out there. I love it, yet I hate it, and I think that is very much so wrapped up in today's conversation about anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers. I mean, really, I'm sure there were people. In fact, there's this. Let's see, if there was this cartoon from the 30s when they were rolling out the smallpox vaccine. Apparently, back then, even with smallpox, you were dealing with people that were so goddamn stupid they didn't trust the smallpox vaccine. And smallpox killed hundreds of millions of people worldwide every year. Completely ridiculously devastating disease. One of the greatest feats of modern medical science was getting rid of that. But apparently, even then, when we were on the cusp of getting rid of smallpox, there were people that just weren't about it. Yeah, here's the cartoon where they're basically talking about the dumb shits that don't believe in vaccinations. Essentially, I guess, yeah, going off a cliff of misinformation. I find it very apt in this day and age. But yeah, Jim Ramsey, I honestly, if If you're gonna be a troll, call in and troll. You know, stop being such a little pussy. Just sitting here making all these like Third Reich freaking comments. You know, that's it's kind of a bitch move. I mean, you know, I would definitely say, Jim or MC, your comments aren't productive, and the fact that you're not calling in makes you a pussy. And yeah, so either shut the fuck up or call in. But, ooh, I'm sorry, I've gotten myself all heated. All these lights. Whew. I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of them too. You know, they're genuinely going. I don't know about that. I think that maybe there's ways to incentivize getting the vaccine. Someone earlier was talking about how more people in the UK were down to get the vaccine because more people would go abroad to travel. But you know, Americans, they don't want to go freaking 20 miles away from the podunk shit place they grew up. So that's not going to convince them. So, you know, we have to like kind of figure out a slightly better way to incentivize the vaccine. I don't know. Maybe the government could attempt to bribe people to get the vaccine, or I don't know. I know it's hot out, but I didn't want to look like a schlub, you know? I don't want to look like a schlub. I want to look good for everybody. I want to look professional. But that's just how it goes. Like I said, call in 240-813-9851. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's talk about why anti-vaxxers, COVID deniers, dangerous idiots. Or tell me why I'm wrong and a terrible communist, as some people have suggested. Both are completely valid directions to go. Like the idea of savings bonds. Oh yeah. West Virginia, they are offering people like, I think it's like, yeah, something. It's like $100 or something in the savings bond if they get their vaccine, which makes sense. You know, I feel like that would be a good way to incentivize a West Virginian. I would also say, if there's any West Virginians watching, the other way would be gift certificates to Tudor's Biscuit World. I don't know if you've ever been to West Virginia, but they got this place, Tudor's Biscuit World. Fire. So good. So good. I would definitely get vaccinated for a Tudor's Biscuit World gift certificate. I know, right? Yeah, I love the vaporwave. I'm all into the aesthetic. I don't like. I just don't. Jim remarks. I just don't like the idea of sending people to jail for not getting the vaccine, or like, you know, doing that stuff. I feel like you would just kind of, you would give those people the ammunition they need. It would be like Waco, you know, you had a whole bunch of nutcases that believed the world was going to end, and then the fucking police came and literally made their wacky ass prediction come true. So if you were to imprison people that weren't, like, you know, anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers, you would essentially be proving them right. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Those people might, like, they're not reasonable people, and I'm sure many of them in America are heavily armed. So, like, if you were to make it something like that, then, like, I'm sure people would die. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's better to like incentivize people. Like, I don't know, give them like a yearly freaking like I don't know, penalty on their taxes or some shit. Like if they don't get their vaccine, they like won't be able to do the standard deduction, and they won't get anything back on their get anything back on their tax refunds. So I mean, I think that would be a good way to go. You know, it's best to just hit people in their pockets. You know, the minute you start like sending people to jail, you like kind of give them a whole sense they have nothing left to lose. And I do not like the idea of an America where people don't have anything to lose. You know, that's how you end up with a place like, you know, Afghanistan or Somalia. Got a lot of people, nothing to lose. And that's not a situation I would like to see in this country, even though I strongly believe everyone should get the vaccine. Yeah. All right. All right. Shooter 007. Freedom. I don't know. I would assume you say unconstitutional, learn it, live free or die. I mean, one, that's not in the Constitution. That's on the New Hampshire license plate. Oh, we got a call. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi.
So, our question: Are you for or against the vaccination?
I'm not for or against it. Why?
So, I mean, are you? Do you have like?
I mean, it seems like you're just taking a position to argue an argument that you want to be in favor of, that you don't even really believe.
I mean, I do believe in getting vaccinated. I do like have pretty low views of people that are anti-vax and COVID deniers. I mean, I have been vaccinated personally, so like that was a no-brainer the minute it opened up. I had the opportunity to get vaccinated. I did. So I would say that you might be a little bit off base on that. Like I mean, of course, like this is online streaming, so I'm essentially
you're like downgrading everybody that's going to disagree with you about anything, not just about mask or COVID or anything. I mean, calling people names ain't going to convince them to do anything.
It's true. Although I honestly don't.
I think you ought to up that game, because otherwise people are just going to turn into a fighting argument, and nobody's going to hear it.
That is very true. You do make a good point, and I don't know. I feel like unfortunately I've allowed the nature of online Discord and the nature of the algorithms to definitely push me towards a very adversarial and confrontational format for my content.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would say that is, it's definitely like another issue that is worthwhile for a conversation, another show. But I appreciate your insight there.
So you're where? Were you Virginia? Did you say, or where?
I was talking about West Virginia. I had a job in West Virginia for a while, so I was familiar with the state.
I mean, I'm in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but the same. I'm just trying to figure out if you're in a blue state, a red state, a no state, or what.
Oh, I mean, I guess I live
here.
I live in a blue state. Although on one of my last RPAN shows, if that's where you're calling in from, I had someone from Canada call in, and he went on a whole anti-vaxxer rant. So I don't think that sort of mentality is endemic to the United States.
Okay. I mean, here you can't go inside any business without a mask. Seriously, the other day I was into I didn't understand this. I went into a Dollarama store, dollar store, right?
Yeah.
And half the store is blacked off. And I'm thinking, why can you buy candy? I mean, that's an essential, but you couldn't buy an accessory for your phone. That makes sense. You go into like a Walmart. My daughter went into Walmart and tried to get a bra, right? Just couldn't buy it. It's like, what? Wait a minute. But the liquor stores are open. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Wait, are you saying that because of COVID restrictions, you can't go into a Walmart and buy like a bra? But I'm sorry, I just
can't buy a bra, can't buy baby clothes. You can't buy a lot of things. They block them off. Really, just like they did in Michigan.
Interesting. Yeah,
So I'm thinking like, well, why? Why? I mean, who determines what's essential there? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me.
I can see that.
I think education would be much better rather than dictating what you should or shouldn't do. So.
True.
Anyways.
I haven't heard of that, but yeah, I appreciate you calling in and letting us know your your position. Like, everyone who's in chat and who's watching, this guy's cool as hell. And, people who call in are amazing. So thank you very much, sir.
Everybody, my wife knows a good friend who got a vaccine, and the next day they tested positive for COVID. It's like, wait a minute, that's pretty weird.
Well, was it just the first shot? Because with the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, you can still catch the vaccine.
I think that's all you can get here.
It's the
I think
Moderna.
That's all you can get here is the first shot.
Well, I'd imagine. So when you get the first shot, though, they always set up a follow-up appointment, because you're supposed to get your first shot, and then a month later you get your second shot.
No, you can't get a shot for about 4 months here, the second one. Our wonderful premier is really screwed up here in Canada. They don't have vaccines hardly at all. I mean, you have to go on appointments. You have to wait in line for hours. I mean, it's really kind of weird. But that's Canada. I mean, you live in the States, so good for you. I mean, I think half of the U.S. is now vaccinated, or 40% or something like that.
It's about half, but the other half is going to be the challenging side, because at least 40% of Americans are either they either don't know if they'll get the vaccine, or are just adamantly against it. As some people in the chat are saying, though, it does take time for the immunity to build up in a person. I know someone that they got their vaccine, their first Moderna, and then was exposed to COVID-19. They had to start the whole process over again. So it is something that takes time to build up your immunity, for your body to learn to resist the COVID-19 virus. So that is unfortunate. I'm sorry that you guys are having a hard time getting access to vaccines. For me, it was super easy. I walked into a walk-in mass vaccination site, and I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It was just it literally took me 20, 30 minutes. They were so fast and moving everybody through.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that's you're having a hard time in Canada. That is rough.
Yeah. Honest, I don't know a lot of people here, but I don't know anybody here in Canada that's even, personally anyways, that has gotten COVID, much less died. Well, which is kind of, I don't know. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I don't know anybody. Literally, I don't. I know some people in the States, and they said, well, yeah, it was pretty bad. They couldn't smell for a few days, and they were tired for a few days. And they got better. I mean,
I know. Actually, there's 2 family friends of ours who died. I mean, they were older people, but they were killed by COVID-19.
Well, 50, you mean?
Huh? Yeah, they were
50?
They're mid 50s, mid 60s.
Yeah.
So now the question is, which part of Canada do you live? That's something, because I feel like it might have been different if, say, you live in Saskatchewan versus you live in Ontario or something like that, one of the more densely populated territories. I'm
in the GTA, Toronto area.
Okay, well, interesting. I have family in the Toronto area, and they said that. I mean, one of them in healthcare, so they've definitely experienced people dying. But I also think Canada did a better job of keeping people at home. I feel like Canada just does a better job of taking care of its people than the United States does. Here a lot of people are just expected to go out and work.
Yeah.
So I could see that being the case. I mean, I hope that you are able to get access to vaccines soon. I'm not really sure how they're doing in Canada.
They ranked 39th in the world, or 39 out of 40 or something. Pretty bad. But anyways, it is what it is.
I suppose it is.
I hear the States is going to send some of your surplus up here.
Oh yeah, well, we have a lot of people aren't filling their appointments. That's another issue, and has been showing how there's been a lot of vaccine hesitancy. Is we have shots that nobody wants to come and get. uh, and it's been kind of ridiculous. I mean, I'm very happy that we've been able to ramp up the accessibility in this country to the point that anyone who does want a shot can go get one. But yeah, I mean, I hope some of those unused shots get sent up to you guys, so you'll have a bit more.
I guess it's all Biden's doing, right?
I mean, he's definitely
he's the one who did it all, right?
I mean, like, it definitely seems like he played a major role in doing a much better job. But, you can look at our last guy, and I mean, I wouldn't trust Donald J. Trump to manage I don't know, like a Sbarro in a mall. I don't even think he could do that.
I don't even know what that is. But...
Oh, I don't know. It's like a terrible pizza place we have in malls in America.
Well, one thing that Trump did do is he put America first. He didn't put China first. I mean, he built he put this pipeline in, and first thing Biden did was killed tens of thousands of jobs. I'm like, what? I mean, that really affected here in Canada too. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, it is what it is, we seem to get through these things, just like the COVID. But...
I suppose so. I mean, I would say I'm not really certain about your stat you just put there, but such is life. I don't know. Do you have any more to say about COVID-19 or about the response? Or should I let you go?
No, I guess that's about it.
Well, I appreciate you very much for calling in. And I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, the pipeline isn't even open. Okay, let's see. That was a good caller. For some reason, the people that like to call in are always Canadian. I think it's because Canadians are like, honestly, everyone says like, oh yeah, like there's a lot of friendly people in America. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people in America are pieces of shit. Don't really like to talk to other people that they don't know. So, I can see it. The Canadians are much more welcoming, friendly people, willing to call in, have discussions. So good on you, Canada. Let's say, I don't agree with all this guy's views, but he's right. Canada is behind. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I'm sorry that Canada is having such a hard time getting. And it kind of blows my mind. I always figured like Canada, it's got like a superior healthcare system to the United States. I guess we were just willing to throw down more cash on buying a ton of vaccines. Well, yeah. Let's see. All right, we have another phone call coming in. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, first time listener, first time caller. I'm digging this. Fucking, what's going on, man? What's going to go on with the COVID declassification with all the UFO stuff, too? What's going on?
I'm not really sure about any of the UFO stuff, but yeah, I guess like I have my views on COVID-19, the vaccine. I have a feeling that if intelligent life was to come to the planet Earth, it certainly wouldn't want to hang around, and probably would want to get rid of all of us so they could maybe build something nice here. So I'm hoping that intelligent life won't come around. I just wondered how that got
rolled in with the COVID bill, the UAP UFO declassification. And then which vaccine was it that got put on hold and then put back out?
Oh, that was the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Well, that happened because there was they gave out about 6.5 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and 6 women had rare blood clots, and there was some thought that it might be related to the vaccine, but there's also a lot of medical sort of research and science that indicates that it probably had something to do with a reaction with hormonal birth control, which actually has
Mm.
a very high rate of causing blood clots in women. It's like something like 1 in every 10,000 women that like take certain forms of hormonal birth control can develop blood
Right.
clots.
Everybody's different. Things are going to react differently.
Yeah. So
I'm with
that
you.
was, I think they were just trying to be extra careful with that, especially because we have a lot of people that they're just waiting for something bad to happen to say, oh, look, I was right about the vaccines. And I think there's a lot of people that feel it's very important for, enough people to get the vaccines that we can, stop commingling our COVID together and, letting it mutate. I've
Yeah.
not read about the UFOs though. If you know something more about that, I'd love to hear about it.
Another thing, I'm for the vaccine. I think vaccines have done a lot more good than they have harm. I know that they've been linked with some like Down syndrome or disabilities with kids, but I think they've done so much more good than they have bad. Where do you stand on that?
I mean, I think what you're talking about, there was, so I guess like around like 20 years ago, there was a study that was quickly discredited by a lot of other academic institutions that said that vaccines could be linked to autism in children. And that like was kind of like the genesis of like the anti-vax or the modern anti-vaxxer movement. I would say though,
I remember that.
yeah, I would say there was literally only one study that said that, and a lot of public health officials and academic institutions quickly issued like research and statements to the contrary on that. But I would agree. I would say vaccines have done a lot of good. I've often said like when was the last time we've ever seen like any kids with chickenpox even?
Not in a first world country, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough that I had the chicken pox, but you don't see that now.
I had it. Yeah, I'm in my mid-30s. That's something that's not around anymore.
Yeah, and our parents' generation knew people that like had like leg braces from polio and stuff. So it's like another kind of thing that just isn't around anymore. So I'd say I would agree. There's a lot of vaccines in general that have been very positive for the world. So have you been affected by anything having to do with vaccine hesitancy or COVID denial over your time in this year pandemic?
Nothing personally. Like my work hasn't been affected. I do construction, so it didn't miss a beat. But no, like nothing. I have family who's higher risk for COVID. We got I'm on the list to get my shot. If I don't feel well, I don't go around my family. You take the precautions that you should as a human, as a courteous human. I don't know. I don't know. What about you?
Honestly, I would say just COVID in general, like it has been. I mean, it's been very unfortunate. I've haven't been able to go see my family as much as I like to. I've been able to see like older friends. I have like a few friends that are in their 50s and 60s that I've like just avoided because I didn't want to be a risk to them. I would say on the positive side, I finally like in the industry that I work in for my day job, they finally like recognized that I could do my job from home most days. So and they've made my company has made a statement that they're going to allow us to continue to work from home the majority of the time. So that's been the positive aspect of COVID is the ability to work from home. But I understand that's not something everyone's going to be able to get to enjoy. And I have a side business where I do music promotion to hippies, and lots of hippies have been very anti-vax, and that's been a big issue for me. Is I want to start throwing concerts again, and I've already issued statements saying that I'm going to be requiring proof of vaccination to buy tickets, and that has definitely caused a lot of people to not like me very much. To say it's safe to say.
See, I love that you are completely opposite of me on that. I think if you want to get the vaccine, you should, but I feel that you shouldn't be required to do it. I feel like that's intrusive. But I love that you have a different outlook and that two normal people can talk about it and not yell over each other about it.
Well, I understand. I mean, I would say though, like I'm throwing private events, so I would say that it's well within my right to want that.
100% it is.
And it's largely because when I do these events, I do a lot of things to avoid civil liability, because lots of things that these kinds of shows can happen that can get me sued. So it's just another thing I have to do to avoid getting sued by someone that has something bad happen to them at one of my events, which isn't something that really happens very often wherever. But it's something I worry about.
Right. For you, it's a liability standpoint. It's you being responsible for your venue, for the people's safety there. I 100% get that, and it's in your rights, and I support that.
So, have you been vaccinated yet?
I am still on the waiting list. It's I got put on the one for the Johnson & Johnson, and then it got postponed, and then I got reopened. Then I got cleared back again, and I think it's supposed to go in, what's today? I think it's supposed to go on the 10th or something.
Okay, nice. You're gonna get the Johnson & Johnson?
I am.
Nice. Well, at least that's the one I got, just one and done, which I liked. My partner got the Moderna one, and she got like really feverish after her second shot, and she was very upset by that. So I was happy with how little reaction I got from the Johnson & Johnson one. Just like some muscle soreness and stiffness. But I'm glad that you're getting an appointment.
I have another question. So what do you think about Bill Gates not wanting to release the vaccine to developing countries? I kind of understand about the controlled environment, but is not doing anything worse. And he's saying that it's about that, but I see more of a profit thing coming from Bill Gates. I see more of a profit standpoint than pro-humanity.
Let's say I honestly don't know much about that aspect. So yeah, all right. So COVID-19. Yeah, Bill Gates says COVID-19 formulas shouldn't be shared. I don't know. It could be a case where he wants to protect intellectual property. I'm not really certain about that, which seems odd considering that Gates has spent like several $1 billion like wanting to promote public health. So I'm not really certain about that. I mean, I don't really know how it would be profit motivated. I would assume that since a lot of countries, I mean, I don't know anywhere that's making people pay to get vaccinated. A lot of countries are probably like cutting deals with the drug companies to like, get preferential rates on it. So, that's something I would have to read more into.
Right. Yeah, I understand. There's so much going on. It's hard to stay on top of anything at this point. Well, I will let you get back to this. It was great to talk with you. I'm going to stay tuned in, give you a upvote and a follow, bud.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Well, you keep doing the good work.
You have a good one, man.
You too.
All right. Awesome. Well, man, we have some great callers calling in tonight. 1 second. I got a message from someone who's watching from Facebook. So, yeah. Well, do we have any more callers you want to call in? Or do we have any more comments? I kind of missed what was going on in the chat. And let's see. Bill Gates did not say that. Wicked fever. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Like, yeah, I've seen some people have been feverish after they got their second one. And some, yeah, both. Yeah, thankfully, I yeah, I just had like a stiff arm and then like a stiff neck muscle. Like it felt like I slept on my like neck weird, but that was gone like a day. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was expecting more. My girlfriend was feeling really poorly after her second Moderna shot, but yeah, after my Johnson and Johnson shot, I felt fine. You know, besides the muscle stiffness. If anyone has any experiences with their vaccination, feel free to call in or share in the chats. Yeah, I think that it is definitely like a small price to pay to be able to um, a small price to pay to be able to like get ahead of this, resolve these issues, and sort of get back to the way we would all like to be living. We got a phone call coming in now. Hello, caller. You're on the line.
Yeah, it's Mangani.
Oh, what's going on, Mangani?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, you should turn off your sound in the background.
I just realized. My bad.
No problem. So,
what's going on?
What are you calling here for today? Do you have any particular thoughts on the anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers? Are you for or against?
I'm neither for or against. I mean, I think if you think you should take the vaccine, then take the vaccine. As far as like convenience, but as far as like the science, and we know anti-vaxxers, like they don't really have a rational position, and their position on this vaccine isn't more rational than their position on previous vaccines. They're going after things they don't know about. So it's okay to be ignorant. It's not okay to publicize your ignorance as intelligence or wisdom.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like a lot of misinformation has been spread about the vaccines, and I feel like about vaccines in general for a while now. It has been interesting how much more, I guess, mainstream sort of anti-vaxxer conspiracy theories have become. And I mean, I don't know. I guess like the sort of rhetoric that we are seeing in this country. I guess my mind was blown when I saw that poll that showed that 1 in 4 Americans didn't want to get the COVID-19 vaccine.
1 in 4 Americans polled are usually white males. So if you think about it, that's 50% of white males.
I don't know. I mean, possibly. I feel like NPR and Marist would do a better job or get a better like sample size than just a bunch of like white guys. But
well, it's true. If you, I'm saying even population wise, when you look at the population, any measure of the population, 25% of the population, about 25%. When you look at polling or like opinion data, 25% is the equivalent of the white male opinion in the United States, pretty much on anything. Well, I mean, in this case, it would be half. My bad. It'd be about half.
No, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, do you think that anti-vaxxer and like COVID denial sentiment is specifically like a white issue in America, or do you think it could be more intersectional than that?
I think every demographic has a specific reason to be anti-vax,
but all different reasons.
Exactly. But it is a large percentage, right? So when I say white males, I can turn around and say the same thing about black males, but it's not going to be for the same reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, everybody thinks it's a government conspiracy, but you think it's a government conspiracy for a different reason. They're after me. The other day I told somebody, just look around whenever somebody talks negatively about the government, just look around and tell me who the government is. If you have family members or, just those who surround you, the majority work for the government, period. We are the government. So yeah, the government's after you. We're all after each other.
I suppose so. I've heard, I know some people in the African American community that are anti-vaxxers in this particular case, but it's like they sort of draw parallels to like the Tuskegee experiments, saying, oh well, if they
Right.
were willing to like give people syphilis, like give black people syphilis, and not inform them, like what are they willing to do to people this time? And I mean, I feel like
Right.
that kind of logic, like it's just as flawed as any other like anti-vax logic right there. You wouldn't be shooting
Yeah,
up
there's
like. No, carry on.
I mean, like, there's many reasons that's irrational, right? Like, first of all, that was over 40 years ago. The laws have changed and everything. But on top of that, that's kind of being negligent or dismissive of our own contributions in science. So you do have Black people that are helping to design the vaccines, and they're very instrumental in that. So to make it seem like it's a government trying to, or using the excuse of experimentation on people of color is just, basically dismissing the fact that people of color are very involved in science, in our current time. So that to me is just a completely irrational angle. I'm not saying the position itself is irrational. I'm saying that particular angle, it just doesn't hold.
All right, I
Doesn't
understand that.
withstand scrutiny.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the last caller brought up an interesting fact that Bill Gates is like, says that people they shouldn't be sharing the formula for the vaccine, saying that and this has been kind of like looked at harshly when we look at cases like places like India and stuff like that are having soaring infection rates and having a lower availability of the COVID-19 vaccine. Do you have any position on that, on making the formulas for the COVID-19 vaccines public domain to be able to benefit lower income countries?
Well, I don't know who's trying to make money off of the vaccine. You know what I mean? Not doing so is kind of just, explicitly making it about profit. The reason we don't share medications, therapies, and stuff like that is because there is a capitalistic bottom line to it. But with regard to this vaccine, there shouldn't be. And I don't have any idea what his level of involvement is. I know he doesn't work for Pfizer, Moderna, the FDA, the U.S. government, Johnson and Johnson. He doesn't work for any of those companies or organizations, nor does he have any authority whatsoever. The involvement of Bill Gates in vaccines is directly related to the involvement of anti-vaxxers in vaccines. He has as much authority as they do, except he's rich and his microphone is bigger.
Oh, true. So yeah, that was an interesting point to be brought up there. Do you have any thoughts on like why the anti-vaxxer, like specifically anti-vax sentiment around the COVID-19 vaccine has been so loud and intense, considering the stakes that are at play?
Because there's legitimate concern with regard to the time frame that it took to get approved. So the problem with conspiracy theories is you look at one thing that makes sense, and then because you really don't know how it works, you just make a shit show of a conclusion, right? So, somebody who knows the FDA process will be like, okay, well, why did they do this? And then they say, oh, it got emergency use authorization. Then you look at the steps that they skipped or didn't skip, or what did they clamp down on? What did they relax on? And then you understand the process. But most of these people don't understand the process. They know that it was approved through emergency use authorization, but they go around talking about CBD, which was also approved by the FDA through emergency use authorization.
Interesting. So yeah, is people willing to accept CBD a bit more readily than the RNA vaccines and the COVID vaccine, or the mRNA vaccines? I guess because people can more easily understand the concept of CBD over
No. The point is they don't understand the process of approval. So what I'm saying is CBD was approved through emergency use authorization, right? Mm-hmm. The vaccine was approved through emergency use authorization, the same type of authorization. When you look at it, you do still look at studies. You do still look at certain things. You still look at the science. It's not like they just claim emergency use and then boom, it's automatically approved. There's a process. So my point is that the anti-vaxxers, the people that are for or against it, they don't know the process. So they just need to keep the process out of their mouths. Make it easy for everybody.
Well, for the people who don't know what the process is, what is the process for emergency use authorization? One second, apprehensive fly, shut up. I'm having a phone call. If you want to call in, you can. I think there's someone who's truly bothered by what you're saying in the iPad chat.
I don't know if they could, if you could get 2 phone calls at once. But the emergency use authorization, the way that usually works, I can't tell you the actual program. I'm not going to pull it up on the FDA. I'm going to tell you off the top of my head how I know it works. Is basically when there is a public health emergency or a compelling reason to believe that this product can alleviate a public health emergency. So with regard to, CBD, they showed, hey, we have all these different issues and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we have this, authority, legally we can access this part of the plant, this, that, and the other. They put together, I don't know how many studies they had, but they basically paid a certain amount of money, spoke to the right people, sent the right paperwork, dotted their I's, crossed their T's, and they got emergency use authorization. Now, that does not mean they went through some, they went, there is a actual process for this. They didn't get, emergency use authorization doesn't mean you got special treatment. It doesn't mean you were a VIP. It doesn't mean they like you, et cetera, et cetera. There is a specific process for the emergency use, and they followed it. The same thing for the vaccine. The difference between there was already studies for CBD, so I guess it isn't different. But the mRNA, so mRNA, if you think about it, that's not DNA. That's information within the DNA, right? So that information is about 90% similar or more to other coronaviruses that we have been researching for decades. And then keep in mind, we have SARS-CoV-1, which was 2006 or 2009, I forget which year it was, but they were already researching a vaccine for that. The sickness goes away, these people still got that information in their vaults and everything. When this sickness came around, these companies, they jumped on research that they had a jump start on because of the previous COVID or SARS.
Okay, Okay, interesting. Well, I think we have another caller coming in, but I very much so appreciate
sure.
your calling in and sharing your insight.
All right, for
Thank
sure,
you,
man.
bud.
You have a good evening, bro.
You too. Well, we've had some good calls in tonight. I think Apprehensive Fly 11 wants to call in. He seemed to feel very strongly about the last caller. I did hang up. Like, yeah, you can have your say now. You know, I'm giving you your space that you can call in. You said you would call in. So you know, I'm trying to move people along here since we got like a good stream of callers coming in. And you know, a lot of people seem very engaged on the subject. I'm definitely interested to hear what Apprehensive Fly 11 has to say. You seem to feel very strongly about our last caller, and I'd be very interested to know why. But I hope everyone's having a good evening and has been enjoying the calls we've been getting tonight. This has been a great conversation we've been having about an issue I know that we have all been thinking about quite a bit as of late. So, well, he's calling in. Just gotta wait for. We got another call coming in here in just a sec. Apprehensive Fly, I think the line shouldn't be busy. All right, you try again, Apprehensive Fly. The line should not be busy. Because yeah, no one is on the line at the current time. I don't even think you want to call in. I think that you just found something very disagreeable with that last caller. All right. Well, yes. Give me your number, and I will. I'll call you then. Don't do that. All right then. Yeah, no, he thought he was slick. I think he just disliked the last caller because the last caller was African American, I believe. I don't know. I have a suspicion Apprehensive Fly 11 might be a gigantic racist. But yeah, you'll find those on the internet. Yeah, no, he wasn't. The last caller was actually giving a really excellent explanation of how the emergency use doctrine works. So you know, that's why I kept him on as long as I did, because he was actually really like speaking authoritatively on the subject. I don't think a lot of people know about. So, but I'm trying to give everybody the opportunity to call in. It's important to me that everyone feels included, and I don't want to be showing favoritism in any regard. So, if anyone else would like to call in, the lines are open, and I'm excited to hear what everyone has to say on the topic. Sorry, I just had to. I don't think Jim RC has been like on like a whole fascist kick about the vaccinations, about COVID-19, and I don't think that's the kind of rhetoric that people really want or what we need. I don't know, man. I don't see. Let's see. Yeah, no, he's lying. Apprehensive Fly 11 is lying. He did actually, if he wanted to call in, he could. I think he just said that he was going to call in because he really did not like the last caller for whatever reason. And Apprehensive Fly, that's lame. You're being a lame person. You are free to call in though. Altruistic ad 6146. Well, what we're talking about is right here on the stream. Anti-Vaxxers and Deniers are dangerous idiots. Changed my mind. So you can call in at 240-813-9851. Let me know how you feel. At Parents of Fly, you know the number. I think you're just bullshitting. The lines are open, and so you can call in or not. Altruistic Dad, you can call in too. We've had a lot of people that have been on the pro side of vaccines. We had some people. I don't want to say we haven't. I actually really haven't had someone call in yet who has been firmly anti-vaccination. That was the guy. Oh yeah. Oh, so you called in. Okay, so you must have called in from like one of the Facebook groups that I shared this to on the Facebook stream. Yeah, Altruistic Fly 11 does not like you. He seems to be like, yeah, it most seemed no. I know who this is. Altruistic ad 6146. I know exactly who this is. Yeah, and most have seemed in the middle of the road. I think that the only people in chat who have been hard over on wanting to force people has been that Jim Remark, who like seems to want to be doing some kind of I don't know, internment camp thing, and I'm not really I don't really support that. I wholeheartedly support encouraging people and incentivizing the vaccine, but I do not support totalitarian action. Yeah, no, I can definitely see Afflight is a troll. But you see, you got to call trolls on their shit. If they want to call in and that's what I'm saying. I'm happy to disagree with someone, but you got to have the balls. Yeah, this is a call-in show. I'm not calling you. So yeah, the lines are open. Well, do we have any more callers? Anyone else who wants to call in, share their thoughts? We've been going for about an hour and a half. We've had some really excellent conversations. I'm glad that people were as receptive to this topic as they were. Well, we didn't see number 1 or 2, Jim Remark. I know that you want to put people in jail for no vaccine, but what's number 1 on that? It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I feel like we've gotten to that point of the show where it's mainly the trolls and the troublemakers. Yeah, that's one thing, Jim. Yeah, I feel like we put a lot of people in jail already. I don't think it's really done much to make things better. Jim, I fully encourage you to call in and give me a very concise reasoning behind your decision to want to. They put me at risk of dying. That's assault. Well, yeah, all right. Appearance of Fly, you can call in. The number is literally right there. So call in or not. You can. I'm just considering you a troll at this point. So I don't know. You didn't even give me a number to call you. So at this point, you're just being a dick on the chat. Oh my. Well, does if anyone wants to call in, the lines are open. Oh, it's all right. You don't have to call in. I appreciate you be. I honestly, you've been here for the whole hour and a half, Jimmy Mark, and that's impressive enough. But the lines are open if you would like to call in at 240-813-9851 and discuss with us how you feel about the anti-vaxxer cause, COVID denial, and whether or not they are dangerous idiots. I have yet to have someone call in who has genuinely been interested in changing my mind. Most people have kind of taken a middle of the road approach and said that my rhetoric has been very abrasive and not going to change anyone's mind. And I've been very clear that I am in no interest in changing anyone's mind. I just go on here so I could get into arguments with strangers on the internet. But like I said, numbers here. And I'm looking forward to hearing from y'all. To recap the discussions we've had already, we had a very nice gentleman from Canada who, said that they have been having a hard time in Canada being able to get access to the vaccine, saying that the availability has been much lower than the United States. We had, I would assume, someone from America who was also kind of middle of the road. Like, he said he wanted to get the vaccine, but he was against forcing people to get the vaccine. But he was happy that we were having a dialogue. I appreciate his. And then we had Mangalni, someone I actually know from real life, but a very interesting and well-educated person, works in the field of biotech and medicine. So he had some very good insight on how the emergency use authorization works. And yeah, so at this point, the lines are open. We are down to continue this conversation. And yeah, Marvelucia, I already have my vaccine. I don't need yours. I'm part of that Johnson & Johnson gang. Blood clots for life. Although not really. You're probably more likely to get struck by lightning than to actually get blood clots from the vaccine. Oh my. But like I said, call in if you see, the crazy thing is, I know someone who they got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and they got both of their Moderna shots. And I was like, why would you get, I feel like you just need the one. You just need one vaccine. Just pick a vaccine. I don't understand why you would you would double up on your vaccines. I feel like it's not going to really increase the effectiveness of it. But I mean, that's the kind of levels of availability of vaccination we have in the United States. We have so many vaccines. I know someone who's literally gotten both the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, this person is probably one of the bigger hypochondriacs I know. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to hurt. It can't hurt. But I don't know. I feel like it would be needless. It would be needless. Would anyone like to call in and talk about their experience with their vaccine? And not be trolling in chat. The lines are open. I know that. Wait, who called in at? Someone called in at 3 just a few minutes ago. Let's see. Hello, I saw that we missed a call from this number.
Hello?
Hi, did you just call in?
Yes, I did. This is one of your buddies from way back in the day.
Yeah. How's it going here?
Very heady individual.
Yeah. Which particular friend is this then?
This is Jason.
Oh my God, Jason from Warren Wilson?
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
So, yeah, I actually tried calling in earlier, but it went to a Google subscriber thing, but I'm glad I got through. But I'm right there with you that the anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers are dangerous idiots, and I've actually found it difficult to reason with people that, you know, I have in my life that, you know, just completely surprised by, you know, the lengths and stories they'll tell themselves or believe, to be on the other side of the argument. And I really think it just comes down to the information that these people are allowing themselves to be exposed to, and how the exposure to certain sources, whether that's through social media or conspiracy theory websites, that basically you can give them a credible source that disproves it, but then their conspiracy source is telling them that that's fake news, or that that's an uncredible source. So there's really no arguing with them. It's like, oh, I trust my sources. These other people are controlled by the big government that wants to vaccinate us all and control us by making us stay at home and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's been interesting. I would have never imagined that we would have this sort of issue in this country. You know, I always figured that something like public health would be a universally supported move, and you know, probably one of the more the more acceptable and better things that like governments can do is, you know, measures for public health, considering how our species has been ravaged by disease time and time again throughout our history. Have you tried to deprogram someone or try to educate someone against COVID conspiracy theories?
I have, but it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, a person's reasonable up until you try to challenge their worldview, and taking it will just seem to get hostile. You know, that, you know, when you start taking away the foundation of what they've kind of structured as their own, you know, reality, it's like they're in a different world, and things that make sense to you don't make sense to them. I mean, it just kind of seems to be like, I don't know. I have tried to bring them back down to earth a little bit. You know, even questions will be like, oh, do you know anybody that you know, gotten really sick or died of COVID? And I'll be like, you know, or close friends, parent or grandparent, and then they'll be like, oh, well, that's just because did they have an underlying condition, or did they have this or that? So even if they concede a little bit, they're always bringing it back to another point, something that allows it to still be an absolute negative in their mind.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a similar sort of pattern I've been seeing for these past few years. You know, it seems like the same kind of like I don't know, mental gymnastics that the QAnon people go through to be able to like back up what they're saying. Is like they'll take any little piece of information and somehow that's like the key to the greater truth. And I think that, you know, we are still like dealing or still trying to think about how we can reach people who are so I don't know, entrenched in their particular beliefs on these things, whether it be something as ridiculous as QAnon or something as ridiculous as Bill Gates is putting microchips in the vaccinations. But it's probably one of the worst times for us to go through something like this. To be completely honest.
Definitely. I mean, one of the things that one person in particular always goes back to, and I had this conversation with them, and now whether it's a news article that they're responding to or just kind of shit posting on Facebook, is they keep saying that the COVID-19 virus has yet to be what's it called? Yet to be
approved or tested?
Not approved. That the virus itself hasn't been, like the genome hadn't been isolated, where they're like, you can go to the CDC website and see that the virus has never been isolated. And then I go to the website and it shows the date it was isolated. It's like, why are you so hung up on this thing? But I think it's just like, you hear something enough times on a source that you've aligned yourself with, that when you see something else that you just choose to see it as false, even if that choice is not even conscious.
True. True. I mean, I feel like a lot of people aren't doing the necessary research. Every single time I hear some crazy claim about the vaccinations, I'm immediately like Googling it and seeing what various academic institutions and the CDC have to say on the topic. I don't think a lot of people are doing that. It's amazing. We have like all of the world's knowledge and collective learning at our fingertips, but like people are so quick to ignore that vast quantity of knowledge we have out there in favor of just hearing something they liked. Actually, I had our mutual friend Naswana. I got into a little bit of an argument with her the other day because she was believing that the COVID-19 vaccination could affect fertility, and I kept pressing her about like who said that, which academic or medical research institution has said that. And I researched it. And yeah, it was not a credible source of information. And I don't know. I feel like maybe that's the problem: is people don't understand the importance of source citation.
Right,
maybe
and I
it's
think
the
we kind
school's
of
fault.
live in a time where people are basing their sense of reality, sense of what is actually going around is based on headlines of articles rather than actually going and reading through something and trying to see, okay, that was an article that was written, what were the studies done, where does this information actually coming from before it was posted here and fed to me this way. And I think the way that you can kind of just scroll through social media these days, and there's algorithms that are trying to feed us the most the content that creates the most reactions, that it's not necessarily, it's probably far from the best, most accurate, most helpful information that we could be getting.
Yeah, understandable. I feel like that was kind of the it's like sort of the curse of the amount of information we have accessible to us. Back in the day when we just had like a couple channels on television, a few radio stations, the sort of tight controls on information meant that I feel like there was a lot more like of a feeling of responsibility, and the people that shared information to try to like sort of get it right in an unbiased way, because it's not like people had a lot of other options. But now you can really just, it's really more about, I guess, like trying to say something that like you can get some people to really get behind for whatever reason, why ever anyone wants to be popular on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's good hearing from you though, man. I feel like it has been years and years since we've talked.
It has, man. It's I'm loving this little show you got going. I was like, I gotta call in. I wish I could have been a COVID denier and anti-vaxxer for you to make the call more interesting. But,
oh, it's okay. If you go into the Reddit Public Access Network chat, you will find a huge number of insane people trolling the hell out of each other right now. But
yeah, I was watching it on Facebook, so I didn't even know how to get to that link. But
yeah, well, I put the link in the Facebook page if you'd like to get in there.
Okay.
But here, I think we got another caller coming in, and
sure.
Yeah, but good hearing from you, Jason. We should definitely talk again soon.
Yeah, right. Likewise, man. All right.
Have a good one.
Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
Absolutely. So we had another call just come in here. Let's see. We'll call them back. So yeah. Hey, did you call into our call-in show? Hello? should probably mute the. Oh, they called in. They didn't want to have the conversation anymore. Womp womp. Womp womp. If anyone else would like to call in, I think I got another couple calls in me. And then I think it might be time for me to wrap up this show. Everyone who has watched and called has been fantastic. I wish we could have gotten an anti-vaxxer or like a legit COVID denier in the calls. I think they knew I was just going to, insult them and troll them. But it is what it is. I was kind of hoping for that. I was hoping to have like a loud, angry phone fight in public for everyone to see. I see right now in the RPAN chat we are having quite the discussion about microchips in the vaccines. Mangowney, stop trolling people like you do. You see, that's why you were upsetting that fly person. He thought he was the only troll in the chat, and you came along and you were trolling like twice as hard. Yeah, anyone who's watching from Facebook, I have put the link to RPAN in there. That's where the lit chat is at. And I don't know, Mangowney, don't be telling people about it. The needles that you have to use to shoot the microchips into people are a thick gauge. It's not like what they're doing the vaccinations with. No way they would have the technology to make a chip that small that would be effective. If you get injected with an RFID chip, that thing is probably a millimeter wide. So I wouldn't believe that. Besides, why would anyone need to chip you? We all have tracking devices in our pockets every day. If they want to track you, they have the way. Plus these things, they got microphones, cameras, GPSs. I mean, man, way better than any microchip they could put in your arm right now. And trust me on that. If you want to say 1984 has happened, the telescreen is just much smaller. Well, hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. So, have you called in defense of anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers, or against, or somewhat of a neutral position?
Yeah, against. Unfortunately, I know you're looking for kind of an anti view, but I'm more just curious about kind of what your strategies have been in real life, I guess I would say, for the COVID deniers. I know I saw in chat a lot about the chips, and one of the more effective ways I was able to kind of convince a family member that didn't make sense was just, look, if the government's going to track you, they're going to use your phone. You literally give them a microphone, you give them image capabilities, GPS, all on your phone. A chip, it doesn't make sense. You get less out of that than a phone. The government already can get anything they want out of your phone. And that was more powerful than trying to just get to the technology. So I'm just interested in what, if you've had any successful strategies talking to deniers or family members.
So, thankfully, none of my family members have been deniers, but I've had a few friends.
Lucky.
I've had a few friends and colleagues who are, and it's not so much that they think their worries are a bit different than Bill Gates is going to track you. It's all New World Order stuff. They sort of believe that it's a way to control the populace, and it's an experiment in control. And why should I get vaccinated for a disease that's got a 99% survival rate and all that kind of stuff? So honestly, I would say it's more selfishness than anything else. Most of these people have been salty because, in the industry I work with them in, it's been hit particularly hard because, it's events. And they're kind of sort of taking an attitude it's the man telling them they can't ply their trade.
Right.
and it's not something nearly as nuanced as that. And like, there's been a few that have said like, "Oh, they're experimenting on us," but I can't get any deeper than that. And their explanations for that, it just probably just comes back to a deeper mistrust of authority, and like sort of misconstruing that with like public health efforts.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's just a lack of understanding and a little bit of selfishness. But you said that you've had some success, like, you've had some family members, some people in your life who have been COVID deniers or anti-vaxxers on this, that you've had success reaching this regard. So, like, what conspiracies were they specifically buying?
Well, I've had a few different ones, some successful, some not, unfortunately. The more successful one was the microchip. And I think that's much more approachable just because of the obviousness that, and not in an attacking way. I mean, like, the success there is more of, leading them to a conclusion, right? They would almost come up with themselves by asking questions. And microchips are easy because just when it comes down to it, it's like, wait a minute. I mean, if people, first off, if that technology existed, it's too late. You probably already would have had the flu vaccine or something else, but also just the obviousness that your phone is the best device, period, for tracking, whether by the government or companies, or your Google account. I mean, the journey of you're so scared that the government's tracking you, but, you're on Facebook, you're ordering everything the same email, like, companies know everything about you, the government can buy that. They know your GPS data, they know your microphone, they can hear what you're doing, all your echo and all that stuff, if they really wanted to. Why are you so concerned about this? That's much more successful. The other ones, not as much. I mean, usually it's conspiracies, and they won't believe anything. It's kind of like a few colors ago, there was somebody who just casually mentioned about, well, vaccines causing autism. Well, there's no study that says that. There's no legitimate scientific study that says that. There's a guy who got discredited and did improper procedures on children and lost his medical license who said that, but and a bunch of uneducated and unscientific people who said that, but like that doesn't convince them. So those people are a lot harder, obviously. Haven't been super successful there because they kind of, doesn't matter what you say, there. If one thing, it's almost like QAnon, where like the Q proofs, there's like one or two or three or four or five things they see and it confirms their beliefs, but there's 95 other things that are wrong. And it's, you have to step back and tell them, hey, statistically, this doesn't make sense. You're wrong way more than you're right. How is this proof? But it doesn't, the whole probability statistic, everything is very confusing. Used to, somebody always say, well, when you leave your home and you drive somewhere, there's a 50-50 chance that you live or die. You're either going to live or you're going to die, and it's 50-50. That's not true. I mean, yes, it's true you're either going to live or die, but the probability isn't 50-50 that you're going to. And so I think a lot of it has to do with, I think, the distrust, in general, and that's the hard thing to disprove. That's the thing I'm always looking for.
No, it's certainly true. I feel like now is like probably one of the greatest times for conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories in terms of like how willing people are to entertain them. I was going to ask, in some of these people that you're having a harder time reaching, is there an overlap with like the COVID conspiracy theories with QAnon beliefs? Are they Q people?
They're not. I think they're Q-like. I mean, they're not full-on Q believers, but it's a lot what you see in a lot of religious circles and a lot of Republican circles nowadays, unfortunately, where they may not realize even that they're Q believers, but they believe Q-based beliefs, or at least Q-spawn beliefs. So, they themselves don't think, well, I'm not part of a conspiracy theory. I saw this because Donald Trump said it. It's like, well, Donald Trump said it because, Ellen Wood said it, and he's a crackpot, it's much harder when that's the case, I guess I would say. But and it's bizarre. I think that the reason it's so bizarre is because these same people were for vaccines. I mean, a lot of the people I know, especially like boomers, you mentioned earlier about things like smallpox, polio. That was a real problem. I mean, my great uncles and everything like that, they lost them. They died from that. They died from great flus. One of my uncles was the quarterback of like his high school, and he got polio, and it wrecked him. You know, like he stopped growing. He was this big quarterback guy, and he turned into this kind of dementive, you know, short, weak. He never recovered. And my parents, it was struck on them about the importance of vaccines because they saw that growing up. But somehow COVID's like not important. It doesn't matter. It's fake where they grew up with that. I think that's the weird kind of, that's the twist where things don't make sense, and it's harder to combat it, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. The COVID deniers I know have been a bit younger. Well, yeah, that's something I often like sort of bring up when people are talking about these anti-vax things. Is like it was a real hard thing. A lot of people of our parents' generation or grandparents' generation went through. Like, you know, my mom, she had rubella when she was young, which is something that's like vaccinated against, and she was in bed for months and months, and it caused minor brain damage to her. I mean, not like, you know, she was fine. Gosh. It just meant that like for a little bit she had like problems with epilepsy due to the brain damage from rubella. But like, you know, seeing things firsthand like that just seems insane that we have people who remember what it was like before a lot of these vaccines, now like sort of being on the same side of people that are against it. I mean, it makes me wonder if COVID-19 was something like, you know, that had like a significantly higher mortality rate in like younger people, if we would have had the same sort of beliefs. I mean, like, you know, some of the reactions make me believe that we probably would have. I mean, I don't know.
Possibly. I mean, it's curious though, because again, like, especially if you look at QAnon, you look at a lot of the COVID deniers, they're boomers. I mean, there's the younger people, of course, because they're not as affected. But it's surprising how many boomers and older are not believing it when they literally live that. I mean, polio epidemics were insane. You know, if you look back in history, what it did, and then it's like in 1916. You know, they prevent you from going from one state to the next. You know, you had to prove you didn't have polio. And now those same group of people are just like, well, we won the war, so somehow we can fight the virus that we saw ravage our family members. Yeah. I think that's been kind of the biggest surprise. I think the other biggest surprise is medical technology. I mean, if COVID existed like 100 years ago, I think there'd be, you know, way, way more deaths. You know, we have medical technology that's helping it not kill us. I mean, if we didn't have ventilators, we didn't have the medicines and the hospitals we have now, it'd be insanely more deadly than it is currently.
I think that we're kind of...
It's hard.
We're kind of seeing like how dangerous it can be in places like India and stuff right now, where there hasn't been as good of a job you know, keeping people socially distant, not as wide of accessibility to high quality healthcare. In fact, we've seen that even in like as well in Brazil,
Iran,
and stuff.
Italy, Brazil, yeah.
It's been like, I mean, I feel like people in America have had it pretty good considering, and even then, like I personally know 2 people who have died from COVID-19.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, I think that's the most surprising part. I mean, I know very few people. I know people who claim they don't know they've died from it, but it's statistically very unlikely at this point. They just blame it on something else. But families, even that, I mean, I've had several coworkers and family members who have not died. They got a little sick, some of them. I mean, I've had several that they still haven't got their smell and taste back 6 months later.
I know a few like that.
Sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, like, that's not fun. That's not cool. Like, it takes, like, you want to live 6 months without smell and taste? That's terrible, you know? Or recently, the CEO of I think Texas Roadhouse killed himself because the tinnitus was so bad.
Oof.
It's astronomical. It's always curious, but
yeah, you see that's what I was more that's what I said. That's what I was more worried about with like getting it was I thought because I had been reading about people who had like side effects from the virus that had been lasting for months and months, whether it be like not being able to smell or taste, or just constantly feeling sickly, or just like constantly feeling like you're laboring to breathe and stuff. And that was what I was scared about, was like having permanent damage to my my respiratory system. And that was something that really definitely had me being cautious, because that's not something I want to go through. Even if I didn't die, like I don't want to be suffering. So I mean, it's still like not something to be playing games with.
Damage to your heart or blood clots, or I mean, that's the weird thing to me is there's so much that can hurt us, our lifespan. And I'm not against people who are like, hey, why are we wearing masks outside all day when we know that doesn't really do much, but there's all these huge things that are like these huge what ifs that people just kind of brush to the side just because it hasn't happened to them yet, right? And so everybody's super selfish now. So not that, I mean, they weren't before, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, I'll let you go, but thank you very much for calling in, and we appreciate hearing your. Oh, absolutely. Well, you have a good one. Well, I think that is going to be all for me tonight. I appreciate everyone who joined, everyone who called. This has been an excellent stream, and make sure you like or follow me on Reddit, and we'll be back again soon for another call-in show about another topic. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you very much, guys. You have a good rest of your night.